Howdy, it's Kyle, talking about a few states I've been accused of hating on through my years of posting. And recently I posted a few videos talking about where I would live in each state as my top spot, and I got a little bit of hate from that, not too much, but between those videos and some ones in the past, I want to discuss the states that often come up the most as the ones that I might possibly hate. So here I want to talk about, do I really hate Kansas, Kentucky, and Mississippi? Starting off with Kentucky, I haven't really heard much in the past of me hating on them, but in that video where I talked about my top spot to live in each state, I did choose Newport, Covington, right across the Ohio River from Cincinnati. And that really did, bother some folks from Kentucky, but that was a very unique situation of me just thinking that'd be really cool to live right across the river, and a state boundary is a state boundary. But I certainly don't hate Kentucky. I think the whole I-75 corridor is pretty nice, but that's not the state that I've heard the most of, or maybe I hate on. It's usually from Kansas and Mississippi. Okay, so I'm going to actually stall a little bit before I go into my reasons why Kansas and Mississippi might not be my two favorite states, and see if you geographic sleuths can figure that out based on some of the things you may have heard me say through the years on this channel. But I think some of the comments I've read from people from these states, kind of why you hating on us, is based on things like you've said positive things about the states that surround us. So if you're from Kansas, you've heard me say positive things about Nebraska and Colorado, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And if you're from Mississippi, I've said positive things about Tennessee and Arkansas, Louisiana, and Alabama. So why not us, man? Why are you hating on us? It's not the region you hate. You just really don't say many things positive about us. So why is that? Okay, so think about some of the things you may have heard me say I like through the years. One is beautiful scenery, maybe mountains type thing. So if you live in either one of these two states, Kansas and Mississippi, you don't really have that same beautiful scenery that some of the states around you have. So for Kansas, you have Badlands up here, you got mountains over there, you got mountains over there, you got mountains down there, and you have, it's not the same beautiful type scenery. Mississippi, same thing. You have mountains in the states to your east, and also to Arkansas, to your north, you have some beautiful swamp and some wilderness areas in Louisiana. And there just really isn't any kind of wilderness, large national park, wooded protected areas in either Kansas or Mississippi. And yeah, the Flint Hills are a pretty part of Kansas and that east central part of the state, the Neosho River kind of thing. But I'm sorry, compared to the states that surround it, it just doesn't have the same kind of scenic beauty. And same for Mississippi, it's just, there's no Appalachian, there's no Atchafalaya Swamp, there's no Ozarks or Ouachita, there's no Everglades, there's no Okefenokee, there's no Great Smoky Mountains. There aren't these things that some of the other southern states have, so that's part of it. But I have been known to like states that aren't entirely gorgeous. So why not? Why are there other things that I might not like these two states? Okay, so the next thing is I like big cities. I'm not going to fault the state for not having a big city, but neither of these two states have one. So you go to what is their biggest city, that being Wichita and Jackson, and these are not the greatest cities for either one in that size range. In fact, Jackson I would rank as maybe one of the absolute worst, bottom five, certainly state capitals. Cities in that size range are, compared to the other ones, it's really rough. Wichita, same thing. It's not the worst place in the world, but for a city in that size range, it is well below average. So neither one of these states have a big city, and also their medium-sized city that's really isn't that great. Okay, I also like cute little touristy towns with a cute little main street and some mom and pop shop. I've talked about Galena, Illinois, and Bisbee, Arizona, Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, Deadwood, South Dakota, some pretty cool little towns like that. Neither Kansas nor Mississippi have a town like that. They just really aren't that cute little town. And for Mississippi, it'd be maybe Natchez or Vicksburg. But it's okay. It's not, those aren't the worst places in the world, but compared to other cutesy towns, again, like Bisbee or Jim Thorpe, it just isn't nowhere near the same kind of cute little fun quality. And for Kansas, I'm not even sure what town you would consider as the one that's the most kind of like that, maybe Independence or Pittsburgh. But it's just not, those really aren't my favorite towns for ones in that size range that most other states do have. Okay, next, I like beaches, and I'm not going to fault Kansas for not having any beaches. I like plenty of states that don't have any coastline, but for Mississippi, compare that to the other southern states that have coast. So I've said many positive things about Wilmington, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, and just to the east of you, Mobile, Alabama. So these are more historic type cities on a bay, or on Savannah's on a river slightly inland. Historic center, but they have offshore islands that are the barrier islands with the really nice beaches. For Mississippi, you have just the long, straight, it's nice sand. It's really good spots for going to the beach, but it's more like Florida style or Myrtle Beach, where it's just hotels and casinos and Joe's Crab Shack and that kind of stuff lining it for miles and miles. I mean, to Mississippi's credit, the barrier islands are pretty far offshore into the Gulf, and they're protected, so that's cool. But Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, they all have those close by barrier islands you can get to with a bridge, and it has that more quaint beach town right there, whether it be Tybee Island or St. Simon's. Hilton Head's a more golf type community, but you have other ones like that, Gulf Shores, it's more of a party type atmosphere. So they all have other stuff, whereas Mississippi has the long strip of casinos. It's not really my thing. It is for a lot of people. I know a lot of people do like those beaches and the casinos, but that's just not my thing. And something else that is not my favorite about these two states is that the nicest part of these states are suburbs to a city in another state. So whether it be Johnson County, Kansas, which is the western suburbs of Kansas City, or DeSoto County, Mississippi, which is just south of Memphis, Tennessee. And that's where I chose to live anywhere in Mississippi if I could choose. But that's not a good sign for your states when the nicest part of it are suburbs to a city in another state. So despite everything I've just said, I don't hate either one of these states. I think a good analogy would be something for Mississippi especially. So say you're going to a meat and three and one of the sides is collard greens, and that's fine. I mean, I don't mind that. I'll eat the collards. But if I have a choice of sides, I'm not going to go with collards. So kind of like these two states, I don't hate them, but they're just not my favorite. They don't really offer the types of things that are important for me. So if things that are important for you are not the same, these might be two of your favorite states, but for the type of things that are my interests, my priorities, these two states don't really offer much. So those are some of the things I wanted to mention, and I know a video like this is kind of out of character for me. I don't want to be super negative about places, but I do see many comments about, especially from Kansas and Mississippi, about why you hating on us. So I just want to go over some of the stuff like that, but to make people in those states feel better, again, I don't hate these two states, but somewhere I do genuinely, truly hate is fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up to let me know you approve, and subscribe to this channel if you're interested in learning more about geography from a nerd. But yeah, thanks for watching. Geography King, signing out. I want to give a special thanks to my Superior patrons for their support. If you're interested in becoming a Superior patron, or perhaps just an Erie or Huron patron, check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description. As always, thank you very much.